So my dear student, colleagues and viewers, so we have already connected again with our speaker. So we should go to our speaker. Sir, okay, you can start your session. And sorry for the problem. Some technical problem happened and we are very sorry for that. So thanks for
Dear
your
friend, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry that I did not notice the message of Pretam when he sent me a message that there is disconnection, because I had kept my phone in silent mode. And okay, so let us start. I apologize for this inconvenience, and I was already taking too much time. So, okay. Please, Pretam, you shout or do something. Call me if there is any problem.
I'll inform you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Now I'm keeping phone. Not in. I have stopped the silent mode on the phone.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. So I was telling you about this fact that millions and millions of people used to die of starvation, and then by 65, Ernest Borlaug discovered new seeds for wheat, which are he crossed rust-resistant wheat with a high-yielding one. But then he found that the wheat corns, the ears, used to become so heavy that the plants used to fall. Then he crossed it with the semi-dwarf wheat to develop two varieties, one called Pictic 62, another called Panjamo 62 wheat. And those were given to India and Pakistan in 65. Till then, the production of wheat in India and Pakistan used to be so low. Now it is very high. Okay, it is 2000, it is even higher now. At that time, India's population was much less, but still we did not have enough food. But once this wheat was introduced, there was so much production in the Punjab region of India and Pakistan that they had no place to keep. All the schools and colleges were closed and wheat was stored there. Wheat was stored in offices, government offices and all. And now, even though the population has gone up by a factor of 3 or so, from that time, we are having enough to eat and even to sell. This became possible because Ernest Borlaug had a very good understanding on the basics of plant pathology. It is also said that more than 1 billion, which means 100 crore people, were saved from starvation. Now, people would have tried to cut down more and more of forests to grow more food. And you people will always have no difficulty in figuring out what it would have meant. The same method of crossing different wheats has been tried with rice, and now rice production across the world has also gone up. Okay. I was telling you about I told you, and nobody was listening. The smallpox vaccine was discovered by Edward Jenner, who just acted on his observation that milkmaids who got smallpox virus did not catch smallpox. It was used about 100 years later extensively. Now, of course, smallpox is eradicated from this world. Yeah? So if you see something, you investigate. Louis Pasteur, again, I'm sorry to give you example after example from India, but pasteurization has helped India become biggest producer of milk. Earlier also, milk used to be produced, but a lot of it used to go waste. After pasteurization's discovery of pasteurization, what we do is to heat the milk to 60 degrees centigrade and then cool it quickly, and it destroys large part of pathogens without spoiling the milk, spoiling the taste. Yeah, and this is saving lives. Sir Ronald Rose worked on malaria. Malaria has been bothering especially people in our part of the world for thousands of years. And he worked on a hunch that most probably it is communicated by the bite of the female Anopheles mosquito. He got Nobel Prize for that. And he found that she injects a small quantity of fluid with her bite. And from that, he found that the parasite goes into the system in this manner. And for this, he is believed to have dissected almost 20,000 mosquitoes and studied them in great detail. Alexander Fleming was investigating properties of staphylococci when he noticed that one culture was contaminated with a fungus which killed the colonies of staphylococci surrounding it. And then he discovered penicillin. Penicillin is the first medicine that not only treated a disease but actually prevented infection and killed back infections that did develop. It was the beginning of antibiotics. Frederick Sanger used his patience, passion, and perseverance to develop a method to study structure of protein, making it possible to know the molecular basis of diseases like sickle cell and thalassemia. Yeah, he also developed a method for sequencing genomes, deciphering first complete genome of amoeba, and then making it possible to prepare complete genome of humans and paving the route to personalized medicine. He's the only one to get Nobel Prize in one subject, chemistry, twice. He had just about 40 papers in his life. Jonas Salk, he discovered the first vaccine for polio, which was declared effective in 1955. Compare his situation with today, when countries after countries are rushing for discovery of polio vaccine, and the drug companies are drooling at the amount of money they are going to make. But Jonas Salk refused to take any patent. He said, "Can you patent this sunlight?" He could have earned $8 billion from royalties alone. Research has to be a way of life. It can help you discover your past. Mohenjo-daro, for example, the first proof of Indus Valley civilization, the greatest civilization, one of the greatest civilizations the world had known, was made possible by the observation of Rakhavdas Bandyopadhyay. He saw that people were collecting bricks from some mounds and using it for the railway track from Karachi to Lahore. He was told that there are some Buddhist stupa there, but he still went and investigated and then found this wonderful civilization of Indus Valley, which is now known across the North India, right up to Afghanistan and up to Gujarat. Gemology, weed making, and all kinds of toys, metals. They made seals, they developed transport, they developed boats, they developed dockyards, they made drilled chameleon beads, which is still used in the same way. In fact, they also used to have this shop for cutting sakha, exactly in the same way as it is done today. They had plant cities, flush toilets, they domesticated chicken, they discovered cotton, button, needles, metals, script, sea trade. They had standardized scales for All this was forgotten by us. And just one observation by Rakhaldas Bandyopadhyay led to all this discovery about our past. There are very beautiful caves called Ajanta caves near Aurangabad in Maharashtra. Way back in 1819, John Smith, a company commander of a small company of East India Company soldiers, went tiger hunting there. He shot a tiger. The tiger jumped from a hill and vanished somewhere. He wanted to chase it. He was advised not to go after a wounded tiger, but he still went. And then he discovered these caves, these most wonderful caves with very nice architecture. And even more importantly, most beautiful paintings. How could we forget this? These were done in 7th century AD for 1100, 1200 years. How could we all this remain hidden from us? I fail to understand. James Prinsep, working in Calcutta, deciphered Brahmi and Kharoshti scripts. And then he read all these edicts of Ashoka spread all over the country from Afghanistan right up to what is Bangladesh today and all over North India to South India. His decipher also his deciphering also helped the writings on Ashoka's pillars, which used to be called walking stick of Bhima or the Sivling or something. This Yakshi from Dhobi Ghat in Bihar is considered one of the five most important pieces of ancient art today in the world. It was found buried in sand at a Dhobi Ghat. And somebody walking there had his shoe hit this juda of the lady. Looking around, he found no other piece of stone. He could have just walked off, but no. He investigated it, and then he found this most wonderful sculpture. Yeah. Sir William Jones studied languages. He tried to study Sanskrit. And the moment he studied Sanskrit, he immediately found that it was very similar to Greek and Latin. And from that, he gave us a feeling that perhaps we all have the same root. Why? You don't have to study Sanskrit. You could study the language of bees. This gentleman, Karl von Frisch, who got Nobel Prize in 1973, as a child, he used to watch bees. And then he had discovered that bees have a dance. And by dancing, they tell each other about location of honey, location of flowers, and the distance. The angle at which they perform the dance from the sun tells you the direction, and the length precisely tells you the location. You must have seen thousands of birds taking off in unison or migrating. Have you ever seen one flock of birds and colliding with each other? Never. Millions of them can fly. If you look at some of the documentaries from Africa, you will find millions of birds taking off together, but never they collide because there are two reasons. They do all that to forage better, to migrate as a defense against predators, and they have survived for millions of years in this manner. How it happens is that they avoid collision with neighboring birds, and they do that very simply by matching the velocity of neighboring birds. If the neighboring bird is moving too fast, they speed up. If it is moving slow, they slow down. Uh, and they stayed near neighboring birds. Okay, this observation, this study gave rise to what is known as swarm intelligence, which is used in computing networks and making of robots or working of robots. Why? You can study ants, how the ants go for in search of foods. Here there are two ants going in search of foods. Here there are two ants going in search of food, starting from one place and going to the other one. One ant takes the smaller route, and the other one takes a longer route. As the ants move, they drop a chemical called pheromone, which slowly evaporates. The the one which takes the shorter route will reach first, collect food, and start turning back, while the other one is still on the way. And therefore, when the next one starts, the moment it will come here and smell the pheromone and follow this route, and then it will again go on leaving pheromone. By then, this one which has taken the longer route will reach. So there will be more and more ants following this route, along which the pheromone trail is much stronger, and ultimately they will abandon the longer route and use only the shorter route. This is this is a very powerful technique called ant colony optimization. This is very adaptable, this is very robust, and this is very redundant, and it is used extensively now in IT industry. This gentleman, Wilhelm Ranjan, he was just trying to understand how do gas-filled tubes discharge, and discovered X-rays, which was then used to take pictures of his wife's ring, both rings, both the engagement ring and wedding ring were used. And you know how X-ray has changed the world forever. This Anton Henry Becquerel, he was examining a belief that uranium absorbed sunlight and emitted it as X-rays. But when he wanted to do this experiment, he found that there was no sun, there was cloudy sky in Paris on 27th and 28th of February. So he put this plate, photographic plate, along with uranium in his drawer, and he found that the photographic plate was still had a mark of the uranium. He studied that and discovered radioactivity, for which he got Nobel Prize along with Pierre Curie and Madame Curie. And that gave rise to alpha, beta, and gamma radiation discovery, which then gave rise to discovery of nucleus by Rutherford. Yeah, let me come here. This is very interesting thing. Many of you may know it. Radhanath Sigdar. He was from he was employee of Geological Survey of India and a very good mathematician. He calculated the height of Peak 15, as it was known, by compiling data from 6 different locations and making the painstaking corrections for refraction. And then he found it to be the tallest mountain on earth in 1852. He excitedly went to his boss and told that sir, I think I have found the highest peak in the world. And what did his boss do? He named this peak after his own boss, Mount Everest. I will devote a little longer section, some section on women, because they have one quality in great detail. They have passion, they have patience, and they have perseverance. These three things which are needed. Yeah. All of you know how well the Bangladesh team is doing in cricket. Yes, you are all very proud of it. They can, on a given day, they can defeat anybody from India to Pakistan to Australia, right? The, the over the arm bowling was discovered by women. Never ever forget that. Over the arm bowling, which made cricket truly competitive, was discovered by Christina Willis because he found that these frocks they were used to wear skirts that was coming in her way while bowling. Noor Jahan was going to take a bath. She ordered a bath, and large vats of rose water were prepared for bath. She was a little late. And in the heat of the day, the sun broke down the rose's essential oils, and she observed that there was oil on the water. She thought, what? And her first reaction was to get the girl who had prepared the bath whipped. But then she observed that this film of oil was very fragrant, and she discovered the art of making attar. Yeah, and this attar is now a $38 billion industry. Okay, $38 billion industry now. This attar. Sophie Germain. This world has been very much against women. In France, there is the École Polytechnique in Paris. There, women were not allowed to attend classes. Sophie Germain wanted to study mathematics there, but she, being a woman, was not allowed to attend classes. But École Polytechnique had a rule that lecture notes had to be made available to anyone who asked for it, provided they submitted the homework assigned to them. So she assumed a name, Monsieur Leblanc, and worked with Lagrange and Gauss on Fermat's theorem on prime numbers under this pseudonym. Yeah. She even intervened to save Gauss's life from the army of Napoleon, but that is another story. Amalie Aimée Noether, she discovered the most important theorem in physics. It's called Noether's theorem. All these conservation laws, which you know, the conservation of energy, the momentum, the angular momentum, the lepton number, the baryon number, all these conservation laws come from her theorem called Noether's theorem. Yeah. But when she tried to teach, she was not allowed, she was not given a job in the University of Göttingen because first of all, she was a Jew and then she was a woman. So she became a private docent, which is kind of a private lecturer. From that also, she was terminated. She used to, you all of you use Hilbert space, right? So she used to go, Hilbert, the lecture would be announced in the name of Hilbert and she would go and take classes. And that is when these Nazis came to know and they got her dismissed. Yes. So ultimately, she went to USA, became a teacher at a small high school, and died of kind of tumor in her abdomen. Barbara McClintock. So I was very fascinated by this colored uh, corpse, maize, bhutta, as you call it. Her education was opposed by her mother because she thought that she will become unmarriageable. Ultimately, she did not marry. By the way, she was the first American lady in the American Academy who smoked openly and cut her hair short. Yeah, she developed a fascination for multicolored corn and discovered the phenomena of jumping genes of genetic transportation, where a DNA sequence changes its position within the genome, creating or reversing mutations and altering cells' genome size. Madame Curie's example is very well known, but I will tell you something else. On the left is Madame Curie, actual one. On the right is Suzanne Marie Franczek, who acted in a drama made on Madame Curie's life. And many countries have brought out stamps in the name of Madame Curie, and her picture is not used. The picture of this lady is used. We have already forgotten. She had a very difficult life. I will not run through it because it is very well known. The fission was discovered of Lise Meitner, Otto Hahn, and Friedrich Strassmann. But Lise Meitner at University of Berlin, she was not allowed to enter through the main door. She had to go through the door from behind the back. She could not even use the toilet in the building. She had to go across the street to a restaurant to use toilet. She was not given Nobel Prize either. And now, using nuclear fission, there are more than 430 nuclear reactors, and 70 are under construction, and they produce 370,000 megawatt electrical power. Now, Bangladesh is getting its own nuclear reactor in Rupur. And many of us believe that if nuclear reactors were employed in a large way, we would not have had this problem of climate change and global warming. This world has always treated women very wrongly. Maria Goebbels Mayer, she discovered cell structure of nucleus for, uh, for which she got Nobel Prize. She lived in San Diego. And you know how did the San Diego newspapers report? In all newspapers on the left-hand side, there is a small column. Her news is given in brief. Her the day she got Nobel Prize, they had just one line announcement: San Diego mother wins Nobel Prize. That's it. Vera Rubin, she wanted to study astronomy. She was not allowed to go to Palomar Observatory because they had a belief that women should not go in the observatory. She fought, and then she proposed that galaxies rotate around some centers rather than simply moving away. And she discovered that in the stars and galaxy, stars at the edge, they move faster than the stars in the middle, which was completely opposite of what she had expected. It was always expected that stars, if they are rotating in the galaxy, as you go away from the center, they should move slowly. And she noticed this. And now we know that there is much more matter in the galaxies than we can see. And this gave rise to what is known as concept of dark matter, about which we have no idea even now. These are some examples of various women whose works were either usurped by men or who got any recognition long after their death. Okay. Most important, I will tell you only about one of them. Rosalind Franklin, chemist and microbiologist, whose photographs which she had taken were used by Francis Crick and James Watson to propose double helix theory of DNA and to get a Nobel Prize. Her own paper on this was rejected as only confirming what men had found. She died at the age of 37 due to cancer, not knowing that her research was stolen. More recent times, the supernova explosions are very, very wonderful things. They happen when two brown dwarf ignites again because it draws some matter from another star, companion star, and reaches a limit of supernova type 1. And since these explosions are always at the same mass, they produce the same amount of light. So you can, if by measuring their intensity of the light received from them, you can find out how far they are, And by measuring their velocity, their shift in the light, you can measure their at the speed at which they are moving. And by study of this, it is now known that the universe is right now expanding. And that has given rise to concept of dark energy, about which we have no idea. So in the universe, we see only 4% of the matter as normal matter, 21% is dark matter, first proposed by Vera Rubin, confirmed by Vera Rubin, and 75% is not even known. What is it? World Wide Web was discovered by Sir Tim Berners-Lee at CERN in 1989, so that data measured at CERN could be analyzed by researchers from across the world. Yeah. And for the same region, grid computing was discovered, and now Bangladesh is in the ALICE collaboration and at CERN, and they even had a ALICE meeting in Bangladesh some time ago. As I understand, the computational requirement of the experiments which operate at Large Hadron Collider are enormous. They produce huge amount of data, but using grid computing techniques, which connects computers all over the world, you can do these computations very quickly and get the results. So Higgs boson discovery owes a lot to grid computing facilities spread across the world. So I'm almost to the end. I'll tell you of some amusing mistakes which happened in this thing because of which we continue to suffer. You all know this typewriters, right? You remember this old typewriters? We used to type tick, 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 and there used to be these levers going, and those used to get caught in between, and then we had to disentangle them. Younger ones will not know. The older people may have seen it. Have you ever wondered why this peculiar scheme of keys is used instead of directly having A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H? No. When this typewriter was invented, people used to try to type fast, and those levers used to get entangled. Okay. Then this gentleman Soul, he discovered that if you lay this keys in this form, you cannot type fast. You cannot type fast, then the levers will not get disentangled. And now we are stuck with a keyboard where we cannot type fast. Okay. For generations, our children have been forced to eat more and more spinach. It happened because in 1870, Van Wolf published the figures which were accepted till 1930s, when it was found that a decimal point had been placed wrongly, so that the real figure was only 1/10. But people were led to believe that spinach has 10 times more iron. That gave rise to the legend of Popeye. Yeah. Okay. I'm almost at the end of my talk. This is Khwaja Nasir al-Din Tusi. In early 13th century, or 14th century actually, after 1300, Halaku Khan, he destroyed Baghdad and burned the libraries, all kinds of things he did. At that time, Nasir al-Din Tusi was in a jail, and he was freed, and he was brought to Halaku Khan, and Halaku Khan asked him, "What can I do for you?" And he said that can you give me money to make an observatory? And Halaku Khan, what do you mean? Is the science of stars so important that we should spend such a large amount of money? So he asked him to do a small experiment. He asked his army to assemble in a quadrangle which was surrounded by some hills. This army which has conquered the world from China right up to Egypt to to Russia to Kiev, this army assembled there. And what did Khwaja do? He put some people on those hills who, at his signal, rolled down some drums from those hills. And these drums came rolling down with a huge sound. And this army of Halagu Khan, which has gone all around the world, ran helter skelter. Whereas Khwaja just stood there and smiled. And he said, "Look, I know how that sound is coming. So I am at peace." Similarly, if we know the secrets of celestial phenomena, we will be calm on the earth. And he was given money. He established the observatory in Azerbaijan. It is destroyed in an earthquake, but this observatory gave gave prepared tables which were used to discover heliocentric system by Copernicus. So the value of fundamental research does not lie only in the ideas it produces. If the science is if science is highly regarded and importance of being concerned with most up-to-date problem of research is recognized, then a spiritual climate is created which influences all other activities. The atmosphere of creativity is established, which penetrates to every cultural frontier. Applied sciences and technology are forced to adjust themselves to the highest intellectual standards, which are determined in pure research. That is what attracts productive people and brings productive scientists to those countries where science is at its highest level. Yeah, this is Victor Weisskopf telling. So I will stop here by telling that if there is ever light, it will emanate from basic researchers. Basic researchers, people who are working in basic research, are the only lamp in the gathering. Do not stop them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful session. I would like to say thanks again on the behalf of the Department of Physics, Pabna University of Science and Technology, sir. So, sir, we will invite you face to face for a face-to-face session after the Corona pandemic. So,
Sure, that will be a pleasure.
I think our students have learned a lot of things about the necessity of basic research. So we are staying in a era where the technology and engineering part are more attracted by our students. So the necessity of basic research is also needed, and you have explained it very well. So I think with this session, I think many of our students may be actually in near future attracted in basic research. So thanks again, and hopefully we'll arrange
Thank you for those kind words. Yes.
Yeah, and hopefully in near future we'll arrange another webinar with you if you have a time. So thanks again, sir. Bye for today.
If there are questions, I will be happy to answer though.
Okay, so we haven't got any question yet. So as the video will stay
I told you that this talk of mine does not invite, does not raise questions. That has been my.
But the video will still remain in YouTube and Facebook. If we'll got a question, so we'll get question, then we'll talk with you, sir. So thanks again, sir.
Oh. Bye. Okay, thank you very much, and wish you all the best and stay well.
Bye, sir. Thank you.
Bye.
Sir.